When I was kidnapped, Diego was watching the sunrise with his new lover. He casually told the kidnappers, "Keep her tied up. No rush to rescue. Let her learn her lesson. Stop bothering me. This works just fine. To stay alive." I had no choice but to undress myself, wrap my arms around the gang leader, and beg with a trembling voice, "I'll behave. Please don't kill me." Later, Diego finally decided to come for me. The gang leader chuckled, looking down at my unconscious body in his arms. "She's exhausted. Might not even have the strength to leave with you." Chapter 01. The roar of the tide echoed through the dilapidated warehouse. Amplified by a speaker, Diego's voice came through lazily, tinged with the relaxed indifference of someone tipsy. "Katerina, you really have a talent for drama, don't you? Yesterday you got my mom to pressure me into a forced engagement, and today you pull off a kidnapping? If you want to die, go ahead. Just don't interrupt my sunrise date with my baby girl." Diego. Tears of fear streamed down my cheeks, soaking the ropes that bound my hands and feet. I shook my head, frantically trying to explain. "I'm not acting. This isn't some setup I planned. I don't even know why your mom suddenly went to the media and announced our engagement. I'm begging you, just this once, believe me and come save me, please?" "Heh, save you? Sure," Diego scoffed coldly. 50 million, right? I'll pay." At his words, the kidnappers quickly responded. 5 hours from now, at the riverside in the East District. You bring the money. We'll bring the... Forget the girl. Keep her. No need to hurry." Diego's voice carried unmistakable disdain and sarcasm. "Let her learn some manners. I'm glad she'll stop pestering me. Consider that money your compensation for training her for me." "You serious?" The three kidnappers exchanged glances. Skeptical, Diego laughed coldly, his tone laced with a strange cruelty. "If you dare hurt her, I dare pay you." My tears overflowed. I closed my eyes in utter despair. "Diego, I never knew you hated me this much." "Diego," I cried, still refusing to give up. "I really was kidnapped. I don't need to be trained. Just come save me. I swear I'll never bother you again." "Diego." The sun's rising. A bright, cheerful voice suddenly rang through the receiver. The girl on the other end giggled joyfully. "It's so beautiful, MMPH." The sound of lips pressed together, wet and lingering, was so vivid it echoed on my side of the call. It wasn't hard to imagine how passionate and deep that kiss must have been. Crushed by despair, I gave up struggling. I sat on the cold floor, blankly staring at the ring on my index finger, the only one Diego ever gave me, and laughed. So promises made in youth really don't mean anything. The boy who, at 16, swore he'd marry me and protect me for life. How did he change so much while growing up? "I'm sorry, Diego. It's my fault. For loving you unconditionally all these years. I'm sorry. I won't do it anymore. Never again." Chapter 02. There was a brief pause on the other end of the call. Then it was abruptly cut off. The busy tone echoed through the empty warehouse. The three kidnappers exchanged glances. The youngest scratched his head, utterly confused. "Sam, is Diego trying to save her or not? I mean, didn't it sound like he was threatening us when he said, 'If you dare hurt her'?" The man called Sam clenched his jaw and spat. Annoyed. Who cares what he meant? All we want is the money. She's the one Diego's family officially announced as his fiancée on the news yesterday. As long as we get some video of her, there's no way Diego won't pay up. As he spoke, Sam pulled a white handkerchief out of his pocket. Without warning, he grabbed my head and pressed it over my nose. A strange, sickly sweet scent rushed into my nostrils, making my head spin. My shirt tore with a sharp rip. Above me, I heard Sam's gritted voice, full of cruel intent. "Cut the crap. Let's play with her." "But, Sam," the young one hesitated. "We were only planning to keep her for a couple of days. Now that Diego's in no rush to rescue her, I'm just saying, what if someone on the inside finds out?" Sam yanked the cigarette from his mouth and cursed. "And what if they do? You really think that rich kid is gonna help us go clean and leave the underworld behind? He's just putting on a show. New blood, fresh power, that's all it is. You think someone from the In family, after running the black market this long, can just turn squeaky clean and survive? Use your damn brain. And if we do get exposed, we just hand her over to him. His methods of training are way more advanced than ours. Oh, is that so? The warehouse door suddenly creaked open. A tall man stepped in, dressed in a long black coat, followed closely by a few burly bodyguards. His pale eyes swept across the room, voice laced with icy amusement. Then how about I let you experience my methods today? The three kidnappers froze, then dropped to their knees all at once in perfect sync. Why, young master in? Sam's face went pale as a sheet. He quickly pointed at me. We found this girl for you. Real spicy. You'll like her. We already drugged her. She's ready to go. The man's brow creased slightly. His gaze shifted toward me, a flicker of darkness in his eyes. He had a face that could bring down kingdoms. But the fear that ran through me made every hair on my body stand on end. Even as my body started to flush from the drug, a shiver ran down my spine. I instinctively curled up, trying to pull away. He raised a brow at that, then slowly walked over, crouched down in front of me, and pulled a folding knife from his coat pocket. His cold voice felt even sharper than the blade itself. It might hurt. Bear with it. I'm sending you away now. Sending me away? Chapter 03. P. Please, don't kill me. The final thread in my mind snapped. Survival instinct ignited my last ounce of courage. Though my hands were tied, I reached out and clung tightly to him. Tears welled in my eyes as I pleaded. Please, don't kill me. I'll find a way to pay you, no matter how much it is. I really don't want to die in the next 2 years. I'm begging you. The man lowered his gaze, eyes briefly pausing on my hands gripping his. One brow arched with curiosity as he asked in a low voice, "What's wrong with dying in the next 2 years?" I was caught off guard. Was that really the part he picked up on? But I didn't dare not answer. Because I lowered my head and mumbled. The country recently lifted the restriction. People can now have up to 3 kids. But most young people aren't really into having children. So if I die now, there's a high chance I'd be reincarnated into one of those old school families desperate for 3 babies. I've barely enjoyed anything good in this life. Dying now would just be terribly unfair. The man's expression clearly shifted. He froze for a beat, his thin lips pressed together, and a trace of amusement seemed to flicker at the corners. But I didn't notice, because the heat inside me was starting to build, rising, rolling like a wave, threatening to consume. Caught between the fear of death and the horror of being violated, I quickly calculated what chips I had left to play. Then, heart pounding, I leaned in and gently kissed his lips. I'll obey. I won't resist. Whatever you want to do to me, it's okay. The warehouse fell into dead silence. His eyes darkened, Adam's apple shifting, but he said nothing. I bit my lip, catching a flicker of hope. My tied arms lifted and fell around his neck, and I kissed him again, but this time, he caught me by the neck and gently pushed me away, creating distance between us. His eyes stared deep into mine, quiet and dangerous. I never planned to kill you. You still have time to regret this. I can find another man for you, but if you choose me, there's no turning back. The heat was overwhelming now. My eyes were dazed, my body soft as I nestled into his chest and shook my head. I choose you. I won't regret it. Since I was destined to lose my innocence anyway, at least let it be with someone good-looking. The next second, his lips claimed mine. His hand gripped the back of my head. In a hotel bathroom, the shower pounded down like rain. The mix of breathless gasps and steamy tension made the room's heat rise unbearably. My arms were pinned above my head, my back pressed against the wet tiles as he claimed me, fierce and unstoppable. Even then, his fingers found the time to toy with the ring on my finger. A smirk played on his lips. Already taken, and still daring to seduce me? Do I look like a nice guy to you? The warm water made it hard to open my eyes. My body was limp, barely able to stay upright. My mind was already lost. And not taken, the ring. I don't want it anymore. Heh, no wonder it's your first time? His voice rasped against my lips in a low chuckle, and he pulled the ring off my hand. You don't want it? Then let's give it back to him. He let go of my arms. I slid down weakly, clinging to the solid muscles of his back for support. My moans spilled out, chaotic and breathless. Lazaro, that's my name, he murmured against my ear, his voice a dark lure. Say it. Ah, I cried out, nails digging into his back. Lazaro. Chapter 04. Diego. On the lounge chair by the beach, a soft, coquettish voice sounded. A woman lay draped across Diego's chest, pouting as she noticed his distracted gaze. Then she leaned in, trying to kiss him, but Diego turned his head away, dodging her effortlessly. His eyes were fixed on the phone lying silent on the nearby table, brows tightly furrowed. Katerina, call again, just one more time, and I'll believe you. You've checked your phone like 20 times in 4 hours. Seriously? If you're that worried, just go see her already. On the next chair over, Dominic, Diego's longtime friend, watched his reactions with a sigh of resignation. You told her you wanted to marry her once. That one sentence lit her heart on fire. Then you grew up, turned cold, and decided to play the part of the charming playboy. Suddenly, she became annoying, clingy, suffocating. These years, your reputation's been colorful. Your mom's worried. It's no surprise she went to the media to pressure you into settling down. It might not have been Katerina's idea at all. And I've told you this more than once, hearts grow cold. No one waits forever. How many more times do you think your teenage promise can be stretched and broken? Don't wait until you've pushed her away for good before you start regretting it. Diego's fingers froze slightly. He lowered his eyes, silent for a moment, then let out a cold chuckle. Regret? Not a chance. Tying myself to one person for life? Boring as hell. I'd be glad if she finally left. Sick of her clinging to those childish feelings from when we were teens. She's a damn nuisance. Dominic frowned at that. Just as he was about to speak again, Diego clearly wasn't interested in listening. He stood up, popped open a bottle of champagne, the fizz spraying into the air, blending with the beach party's lively atmosphere. Dominic pursed his lips, muttering under his breath. Self-sabotaging jerk. A shadow suddenly fell over him. Dominic blinked, looking up at Diego, who had unexpectedly returned, his expression unreadable. Diego picked up his phone. Just as he unlocked it, it rang. Diego, said his assistant on the other end. Someone just sent a package to the office. It's for you. From Katerina. Diego scoffed immediately, eyes flashing with disdain. For a second, he felt like the biggest fool in the world for even worrying about her earlier. It's a ring, the assistant continued. Looks like the one Katerina always wore. Diego's pupils shrank sharply. What did you say? A moment later, a photo popped up on his phone. One look was all it took. It was the ring he had given her when he was 16, a childish engagement ring he'd used to confess his feelings back then. Katerina had always treated it like a treasure, wearing it constantly. Something strange stirred in Diego's chest, but before the feeling could settle, it was smothered by anger. He sneered and began typing furiously into the chat box. So the fake kidnapping act didn't work out? Trying the whole push and pull tactic to mess with me now? Katerina, you gave back the ring. We're officially done. Don't bother me again. The message went out, but there was no reply. The chat box, usually filled with instant responses, remained still and silent. Annoyed, Diego scrolled up. The chat history was full. Every message was from Katerina, checking in on him, caring about him, loving him. His lips curved into a cold smirk. Yeah, right. As if Katerina didn't like me anymore. This whole thing? Just another one of her performances. Determined to teach her a lesson. Diego shut off his phone completely, cutting off any chance for her to beg or backtrack. Then, in one fluid motion, he jumped to his feet, shaking the champagne bottle hard. Pop! Bubbly burst into the air as he smashed the bottle onto the sand, wrapping his arm around the woman in his lap. Diego laughed wildly and unrepentantly. I'm in a damn good mood today. Let's drink! Chapter 05. When I woke up the next morning, Lazaro was no longer in the room. It was my first time being kidnapped, so I had no idea what the usual protocol was after sleeping with the leader. Was I supposed to wait around for someone to come pay the ransom? Or was I now his, bound to him for life? Or maybe, I looked around the empty room. My hands and feet weren't tied anymore. Could I maybe just walk out? Clothes were scattered across the floor. My blouse and stockings had been completely torn apart. I had no choice but to grab Lazaro's oversized shirt and carefully slipped it on, tiptoeing toward the door. Then, from the balcony behind me, came Lazaro's lazy, mocking laugh. "Those three were your men, not mine. In my book, they're just stubborn old loyalists from your former regime who refused to take my orders. Beating the crap out of them? That was me going easy." As he spoke, the balcony door opened. Lazaro stepped back into the room. Not yet noticing me by the doorway, he casually pulled the phone away from his ear, as if whoever was on the other end had started swearing. His smile turned colder. "Dad, don't forget, I run the syndicate now. They broke the rules of me going clean. I'll turn their ashes into fireworks if I feel like it. And you'd better not give me any attitude about it." With that, he hung up without waiting for a reply. Then he lifted his gaze and spotted me. He paused for a second. The darkness in his eyes gave way to a teasing smirk. "After draining me dry, you were just gonna sneak off?" Startled, I jolted and shook my head frantically. And no, I wasn't trying to run. It finally hit me who Lazaro from the family really was. The top underground boss in the capital, the kind of man who lived by the blade, dealt in blood, and knew exactly how to make people disappear. Messing with a man like him? Running wasn't an option. Obedience, that was my only shot at survival. Lazaro raised a brow and walked toward me, slow and deliberate, step by step, until I was backed up against the door with nowhere to retreat. His eyes dropped to my legs peeking out from under his shirt, his gaze darkening. Then, without warning, he scooped me up into his arms and placed my bare feet on top of his shoes. "There are guards swarming the entrance. You were gonna walk out looking like that? I don't think you're trying to run. You've got a death wish." There was no way I could balance like this. I had to cling to Lazaro's neck, leaning weakly against the doorframe. My voice was soft as I tried to reason with him. "My parents are researchers. They work deep in remote mountains with no signal. Social status? High. Bank accounts? Not so much. If we wait for them to realize I'm gone and come pay ransom, it could take a while." Lazaro blinked, then chuckled. "If you're with me, you won't need money." I hesitated. No ransom meant I'd have to stay with him? It's my first time. I don't really know how this works. Am I supposed to stay here? Or, before I could finish, his lips were on mine, soft, teasing kisses brushing against me. His smirk curled against my mouth as he whispered, "Do you know how to date?" I froze, blinking in confusion. "Huh?" Then suddenly, he lifted me into his arms again. As he leaned forward, pressing me back into the bed, his voice lowered to a wicked murmur beside my lips. "Then let's follow the dating routine." Chapter 06. It wasn't until 3 days later that Diego finally turned his phone back on. 3 days of chaos and indulgence. The entire villa looked like a post-apocalyptic wreckage, like a typhoon had swept through, leaving behind nothing but overturned glasses, empty bottles, and the lingering stench of decadence. He fished his phone out from between the couch cushions, slumped back into the sofa. Diego powered it on with a sneer, waiting for the flood of notification dings to finish. So many messages had to be from Katerina. She was always like that, always texting him over the tiniest, most trivial things. So annoying. This time, she probably spammed him again. The dings finally stopped. Diego reached out and tapped the screen. Just as a call came in, it connected automatically. He glanced at the caller ID. Great. His mom. Probably just another attempt from Katerina to use her as a mediator. Diego frowned and was about to cut her off when his mother's anxious voice beat him to it. "Diego, have you heard from Katerina? She hasn't replied to me in 3 days. Is something going on? Did something happen to her?" His buzz dulled immediately, at least 5 levels of drunkenness gone in a blink. He bolted upright on the couch, his brows drawing together sharply. No contact? Suddenly, a memory flashed in his mind. 3 days ago. That phone call, the one about the kidnapping. Katerina's still playing this game? His jaw tightened. He pressed the dial button with a heavy hand, his expression stormy. Something was off. Beneath the irritation, there was something else brewing. Panic. Maybe, but anger still ruled. Katerina really went too far this time. The call connected quickly, but the voice that answered was not hers. It was a low, raspy man's voice, completely unfamiliar. Diego's face froze. His gut dropped. 3 a.m. A man answered Katerina's phone. That alone confirmed the kidnapping was real. Panic surged. He clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles cracked. His voice rigid and strained. "Where's Katerina? Put her on. You didn't touch her, right? Give me the address. I'll come pay the ransom myself." There was a brief pause on the other end. Then came a soft chuckle. The voice, gentle and hoarse, replied slowly, "Not tonight. She's already worn out from the past couple days. Even if you brought the whole damn army with you, she wouldn't have the strength to walk out." Diego shot to his feet. His pupils contracted sharply, and in the very next second, he exploded. "Did you ing touch her? Who the hell gave you the right? I said I'd pay the damn money." Everyone in the villa went dead silent. It was like someone had hit pause on the entire world. No one dared move. They just stood there, frozen, watching Diego with wide eyes as his entire face twisted in rage. His eyes were bloodshot. Veins bulged along his neck. It took several deep breaths before he managed to suppress it a little. He wiped his face, voice still tight. "How do I pay? How do I get her back?" On the other end, Lazaro looked down at the sleeping woman in his arms. He suddenly recalled the way she'd whispered, embarrassed and a little wronged, that she didn't have money for ransom. He chuckled faintly. 50 million. Just transfer it to her account. Chapter 07. I didn't find out I'd been ransomed until the next morning. Lazaro stood by the bed, slowly fastening the cufflinks of his shirt with his usual calm, unhurried manner. Then, as if it were nothing special, he handed me a fully charged phone. "It was returned last night, already fixed. You fell asleep at midnight, so I answered a call from your ex on your behalf, and got you 50 million in pocket money." My pupils widened. I blankly took the phone. When I saw over 100 missed calls on the screen, my brain short-circuited. They were all from Diego? Lazaro clearly saw the number too. He raised an eyebrow, amused. "Maybe I'm just good at talking." He seemed unsatisfied, like he wanted more. This is what you call unsatisfied?" Lazaro bent down to pick up his suit jacket, draping it casually over one arm. The crisp shirt and tailored slacks accentuated his broad shoulders and narrow waist. Just the sight made my cheeks flush. Memories of the past few indulgent days instantly flooded my mind. Noticing the look on my face, Lazaro smirked. He leaned down and placed a gentle kiss on my forehead. "Easy, sweetheart. Don't tease me. Otherwise, you won't be able to walk later." My face turned scarlet. He gently ruffled my hair, then raised a brow lightly. "Tell your ex I said hi." Aw, classic mob boss energy, gracious, almost. Then he added with a quiet, bone-chilling warning, "If you two dare rekindle anything, I'll burn you both and scatter the ashes." I didn't say anything. Those 3 kidnappers may have been taken care of, but they were still under Lazaro's command. If things got complicated, it could be a problem, so he didn't escort me. I took a cab back on my own. But I didn't go home. I went to see Diego's mom first. Given my parents' jobs, long-term research and isolated, signal-less mountain labs, I'd basically grown up under Diego's mom's care, following Diego around since we were kids. "Katerina, thank God, you're safe now. You're home." Diego's mother clutched my hand, eyes red with guilt and worry. Diego sat on the sofa opposite us, uncharacteristically silent. From the moment I walked in, his eyes never left me, dark and bloodshot. His stare carried a deep, unsettling heaviness. His mother called out to him twice. He didn't respond. She gave up, wiping her tears and turning back to me. "Katerina, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I didn't think it through. I just wanted to pressure that ungrateful boy to marry you. I never thought it would get you targeted by kidnappers. Thank God they only wanted money. If anything worse had happened to you, how could I ever face your parents?" Bang! The sofa rattled with a sudden thud. Diego, silent until now, suddenly shot up like something had snapped in him, grabbing my wrist. He dragged me upstairs, His hand was freezing cold, like ice. I struggled, but couldn't break free. Diego, let go! He ignored everyone's startled cries and pulled me straight to a guest room on the second floor, shoved me into the bathroom, locked the door behind us. His voice was cold, but his fingers were trembling. Shower. What the hell is wrong with you? I was totally thrown off. I shoved him away, heading for the door. I was clean. What was there to wash? But Diego yanked me back, his eyes wild, furious, like he was seconds away from snapping. Where is he? I froze. Who? Veins bulged at his neck. Even saying the name seemed to enrage him further. The bastard who answered your phone the other night. I almost laughed, taking advantage of his brief distraction. I pulled free. Have you ever considered that maybe he wasn't a kidnapper? Maybe he saved me? Diego let out a bitter, almost deranged laugh. His voice trembled with rage. Yeah, saved you, by taking you to bed? Was that part of the rescue process too? Honestly, I had no idea what he was so furious about. Is it that hard to figure out? I scoffed. I was kidnapped, not on a vacation. I should be grateful I wasn't tortured to death. Thank God Lazaro was the one who showed up. Thank God he came. Thank God, he wanted me. Diego went rigid. It took him a moment to process what I was saying. Then the meaning hit him. His entire expression collapsed. The rage cracked and gave way to confusion and disbelief. I didn't think it was real. He stammered. I thought you were acting, that you hired them to force me into marriage. If I'd known. I cut him off with a bitter laugh, recalling that night now only brought a cold, numbing clarity. You didn't know? Didn't you say you'd pay them $50 million to train me? A kidnapping that could have ended with a simple wire transfer turned into a lesson I'll never forget because of one sentence from you. If I hadn't been rescued, I probably would have been passed around, filmed, humiliated over and over. Congratulations, Diego. I've learned my lesson. I won't ever cling to you again. Chapter 08. Diego froze. The fire in his eyes seemed to be doused in an instant, replaced by something dull and ashen, like defeat. His jaw tensed, muscles along his cheek twitched, as if he were grinding his teeth. After a long silence, he seemed to finally force the words out, like convincing himself as much as me. Forget it, Katerina. Forget the kidnapping. Forget that man. Forget whatever happened between you two. He abruptly stopped. His lips trembled slightly, but the rest of that sentence never came out. He took a deep breath, turned his face away, and his voice softened. Let's just pretend none of it ever happened. If you still want to marry me, fine. Everything else, status, comfort, lifestyle, I can give you. Just don't expect love or loyalty. For a second, I honestly thought I was hallucinating. Did Diego just say something human? Had he forgotten? He was the one who came after me first. He confessed. He proposed. At 16, not 6. And now, grown-up Diego brushed those promises aside like they were nothing, never once stopping to think what someone like me, who'd been lured in and truly fallen, was supposed to do with a heart already handed over. It was like being a stray dog, taken in, given warmth and a name only to be abandoned later, left cold, confused, and crying, but too far gone to survive out in the wild again. So in the end, I became that pathetic creature, chasing after my old master with my tail between my legs, desperate for scraps of the warmth I once knew. Sometimes, I wondered, wouldn't it have been better if he'd never picked me up in the first place? Let's not, I said. The anger, the sorrow, the humiliation, it all churned together inside me. But in the end, only quiet resignation remained. I lowered my gaze and smiled, calm and composed. Don't force yourself. I've let go. I won't love you or bother you anymore. So really, there's no need for you to make such a big sacrifice. It's all in the past. You can go live your carefree life now. I meant every word. But somehow, that calmness seemed to irritate Diego even more. His expression flickered with something like panic, then shifted into sarcasm and frustration. Well, aren't you saying all the right things? Not cling to me? You believe that yourself? You think you can actually do that? If not, don't bother pretending. I never asked you to disappear from my life. I just said I couldn't give you love. That doesn't mean My eyes landed on the base of my ring finger, where there used to be a ring. It had only been 3 days since I took it off, but even the faint mark was already fading, just like the hope I'd stubbornly held onto, the refusal to let go, the endless waiting. Abandoning it all really only takes a single moment. I said softly. Diego's eyes narrowed sharply. He stared at me for a few long seconds. Then, as if convinced I was bluffing and would come crawling back soon, he gave a faint smirk. You'd better. I have to, I replied, and despite myself, smiled. Lazaro's face suddenly flashed across my mind. Otherwise, he'll burn us and scatter the ashes. Chapter 09. From that day on, I kept my promise and pulled myself as far away from Diego as possible. I no longer sent him funny memes or random little things I used to share all the time. I stopped caring whether he was flirting with someone or getting cozy with someone else. And I stopped showing up in front of him for no reason, even mutual friends gatherings, if he was there. I wasn't. During that time, Diego's mom noticed the distance too. She messaged me a few times, but after a while, she understood. Eventually, she sighed and sent one final message. I guess we just weren't meant to be mother-in-law and daughter-in-law after all. A little over a month later, on Christmas Day, Dominic dropped by my pottery studio. He stood there, watching me calmly instruct a group of students shaping clay. He raised an eyebrow and gave a small, amused smile. So, Katerina, you're serious this time? You're really done with that self-destructive bastard? I clicked my tongue and shot him a look. It's Christmas, and you're not at home with your wife. Why are you hanging around my place? Aren't you afraid she'll run off again after all that effort you put into winning her back? Dominic's smile instantly disappeared. He picked up a lump of clay and tossed it lightly at my apron. I came here to check on you, and you're out here stabbing me in the heart. With a dramatic sigh, he brushed his hands off and got up from his seat, then placed a soft pink envelope on the table. It was a handwritten invitation, the kind you could tell was lovingly penned in delicate brushstrokes, definitely the work of his calligraphy-obsessed wife. It's our 3rd wedding anniversary, Anne. Diego will definitely be there. You can come if you want. I'll understand if you don't. He picked up the bouquet of roses he'd left on the side and nodded toward me, ready to go. But as he reached the door, he paused and turned back to look at me. Katerina. Diego, he still cares about you. He's been acting all carefree, one rebound after another, but I've seen him, staring at his phone, waiting for your texts. I'm not saying this to defend him. I just don't want all your years of loyalty and effort to finally be paying off, only for you to miss it now. So yeah, take that however you want. Whatever you choose. I've got your back, if you want a fresh start. I'll introduce you to someone new right now. Ding-ling. The shop door swung open from the outside. The chime rang crisply as a gust of snowy wind swept in. Lazaro stepped through the doorway, dressed in a black down jacket. Snowflakes scattered across his shoulders. Excuse me. His voice was calm and cool. As always. Dominic blinked, momentarily stunned by Lazaro's ridiculously handsome face. Snapping out of it, he quickly moved aside with an apology. But just before leaving, he turned to look at Lazaro one more time, a hint of curiosity flickering in his eyes, as if trying to remember where he'd seen him before. Is it snowing? I glanced out the window, smiling. Snow on Christmas. How poetic. Yeah. Lazaro nodded without elaborating, while the students were all crowding by the window to watch the snowfall. He walked over to me, and, without a word, leaned down and gave me a quick kiss. His lips were cold, ice cold, but the surprise in my eyes was instant and wide. I lightly punched his chest in mock annoyance. My eyes narrowed in warning. Chapter 10. What are you doing? There are people around. I glared at Lazaro, scandalized, but he only raised a brow, looking smug and unapologetic. As the secret boyfriend you've been trying to keep under wraps, stealing kisses is part of my basic skill set. Can't have your friends introducing you to someone else. Now can I? I was speechless. Who's hiding anything? We've been dating openly for over a month. It's just ever since I started avoiding Diego. I hadn't been seeing many people, so not many knew. The wall clock chimed 6 o'clock. I tilted my head at Lazaro, then turned to my students and called class dismissed. By the time the last one was picked up by their parents, the sky had completely darkened. The street outside glowed with festive lights. Snowflakes danced in the air, adding a quiet romantic touch to the evening. Lazaro slipped his arms around me from behind, pulling me into his warmth. His lips brushed my ear, voice low and rich. With this kind of atmosphere, how about a secret date, girlfriend? TSK. This man, so relentless. At 10:10 p.m. My almost never used WeChat moments lit up with a rare update. Merry Christmas. To the passive-aggressive man who kept hinting about going official. Attached was a photo of our hands, fingers tightly intertwined. The background? A bed. Dominic finally remembered who Lazaro was. Lazaroan took over the syndicate at 25, the youngest successor in history. The very day he stepped up, he declared he was breaking ties with the family's underworld past, retiring from crime and ordering a complete shift to legal business. And in just 6 months, starting from scratch, he pushed the name into the top 15 most influential corporations in the capital. A man like that, showing up at Katerina's tiny pottery studio? He wasn't there for pottery lessons, that's for sure. Dominic's phone buzzed nonstop. The group chat exploded. Holy crap, Katerina went official? Also, did anyone notice? They're holding hands on a bed. It's 10 p.m. They're definitely living together, right? Wait, is it Diego? Nope. Diego spent all last night at my place, drinking in silence. Looked like he was waiting for a message. Kept staring at his phone all night. The chat went dead silent for a few seconds. Then someone quietly typed. Was he waiting for Katerina? The awkward silence that followed was almost tangible. No one replied after that. Dominic felt a twist in his gut and quickly exited the chat. Pulling up Katerina's post again, when he saw the ring on her delicate finger, he sucked in a sharp breath. The bastard finally got his bad ending. The day after Christmas was a weekend. The studio was closed. I left Lazaro's place and, instead of heading home, stopped by the mall first, picked out a 3rd anniversary gift for Dominic and his wife. And, okay, fine, I may have bought someone a tie, as a belated Christmas present. Ding! The elevator reached my floor. The doors slid open. Just as I stepped forward, a dark figure lunged at me. I was slammed against the elevator wall. Before I could cry out in pain, my lips were crushed by a rough, desperate kiss. MMPH. The bitter scent of alcohol filled my nose. Diego, his eyes bloodshot, his hands cupping my face, kissing me with a brutal, almost biting intensity. It hurt. I winced. Let me go. I pushed at his shoulders with all my strength. When he tried to force his tongue past my lips, I bit down, hard. Hiss, Diego grunted, finally releasing me. I didn't wait another second. I bolted, but I hadn't even taken 2 steps before he yanked me back by the wrist. What the hell are you running for? I'm not gonna eat you. He held on tight, shouting in fury. I swung my arm and slammed every gift box I had into his head. Then what the hell was that just now? Yeah, I lost it. Diego snapped, kicking the scattered boxes across the floor. His chest heaved with rage. Eyes locked on my ring finger like he was 1 second away from ripping my throat out. Where the hell were you last night? Why didn't you come home? Chapter 11. I could only blink, utterly baffled. Where I go doesn't seem to be your business anymore, does it? Diego's body jolted. Trembling slightly, he dragged a hand down his face, his eyes dark and dangerous. Who is he? That question again, so familiar. I looked up and stared at him silently, offering no reply, but Diego had already realized. His face went pale, whether it was the alcohol or something else. He swayed on his feet, steadying himself with one arm against the wall. Did he force you? No, we're just together now. Diego closed his eyes, trying to smother the collapse brewing behind his lashes. Then break up with him. Didn't you want to be with me? Fine, we'll be together. You leave him, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. He let out a quiet breath, like he was finally surrendering to something he could no longer fight. Katerina, you win. I've missed you a lot. Let's be together from now on. There'll be no one else. Ah. So that's what he thought last night's post was. Some manipulative trick to provoke him? Diego, I'm not you. I know exactly what I feel. When I liked you, I chased you openly, proudly. I was never childish enough to use someone else as a pawn in some twisted love game. Diego's face turned paper white. His fingers curled inward, but couldn't even form a proper fist. His eyes were red. He let out a hollow, broken laugh. That's impossible. You liked me so much. There's no way you could be with someone else this fast. I let out a low chuckle, laced with irony. Oh, please. Teenage love isn't something to be taken seriously. I didn't want to keep arguing with him, so I turned toward my apartment door and started entering the passcode. The beeps echoed in the hallway. As the door clicked open, a trembling voice called out behind me. Then can I start over now? This time, let me be the one to chase you. I slowly turned my head, eyes wide in disbelief. Where was all this before? Now he wanted a fresh start. Now he wanted to pretend everything was even? Diego looked shattered. He seemed so lost, like he didn't even know what to do with himself anymore. I hadn't fallen in love with you yet. Or maybe, I didn't realize I already had. Dominic was right. This was Diego's full-blown face-slap moment. He'd always said he'd never regret it. But when he saw her holding someone else's hand, all he could think was, he wanted to rip that man apart. That was his Katerina, the girl who had always followed behind him, always there if he turned around. So how did someone else steal her away halfway through? And why couldn't he get her back? Heh, what kind of adult doesn't even know what they want? You weren't confused. You were just pretending not to hear, not to feel. This whole I didn't realize I loved you line. That's just a coward's excuse to cover up your selfishness. From the end of the hallway, a voice cut in. Lazaro had arrived at some point, now leaning against the wall near the elevator, arms folded, beige hoodie, black track pants, and yet somehow, he still managed to look like he owned the damn building. Chapter 12. Diego's pupils contracted sharply the moment he saw Lazaro's face, a sudden flicker of alarm flashing in his eyes. He'd clearly recognized Lazaro, the same voice from the phone call that night, the one who had mocked and provoked him without fear. Heh, Lazaro. So it was you. Lazaro smirked, lifting 2 fingers in a casual salute at his forehead, his expression carrying that natural, effortless rogue charm. Nice to meet you, Mr. Ex-boyfriend who only knows regret after losing everything. Diego's face darkened instantly. Lazaro didn't even acknowledge the change, his eyes drifting lazily over the scattered gift boxes on the floor, until they landed on a necktie that had been tossed aside. He looked up at me, amusement lighting his gaze. This for me? A going public gift? I puffed out my cheeks and muttered, no. Oh, Lazaro responded lightly, but still bent down, picked up the tie, and slung it around his neck. Then he walked over and stood next to me, completely unfazed. Help me tie it? I rolled my eyes and tugged him toward the apartment. You're wearing a hoodie. What the hell are you doing with a tie? No worries. I look good in everything. The door clicked shut behind us. I didn't turn around, but I still heard the faint, broken whisper echo behind the door. But you learned how to tie one for me, thanks to a certain Mr. Ann's pointed little suggestions. I ended up attending Dominic and his wife's anniversary party. Lazaro wore a sharp, perfectly tailored suit. His tall, commanding figure instantly drew every gaze the moment he stepped out of the car. Dominic came up, smiling warmly and offering a hand. Nice to meet you, Lazaro. I'm Dominic. Lazaro returned the handshake with equal warmth, but what came out of his mouth made me want to bury my face in my hands. Right? You think the tie looks good too? Huh? Katerina gave it to me the day she made us official. Jesus. This man was good at small talk and extremely good at holding grudges. Dominic probably still hadn't figured it out, that all of this was payback for that little "I'll introduce you to someone new" line on Christmas Day. The party gradually filled up, buzzing with energy, with a background like Lazaro's. Avoiding small talk was impossible, even if he didn't want to mingle. People kept pulling him into conversations. I found a quiet corner for myself, nibbling on tiramisu while watching Dominic on stage, holding his wife's hand and crying like a baby. Honestly, I was kinda emotional. Dominic used to be a world-class boy. The way he chased his wife back, it had been brutal. But in the end, he did win her back. A figure stepped up beside me. I didn't need to look. I already knew who it was. I had expected this moment the moment I decided to come. Compared to that drunken mess from the other night, Diego was at least presentable today. But the exhaustion in his face and the bloodshot in his eyes said it all. This man hadn't been doing well. Katerina. Diego spoke my name, his voice low, tight. He looked up at the couple on stage, then back at me, and slowly, he lifted his hand. A ring rested in his open palm. His skin bore faint red indentations. He must have clenched it too hard earlier. Let's get married, please. That proposal. I know I'm years late, but I won't let you down again. I'll treat you right for the rest of my life. There'll only be you. Chapter 13. I slowly set down my fork. Suddenly, I didn't feel like eating anymore. Then I reached for the ring I used to wear all the time. Under the sudden spark of hope in Diego's eyes, I turned, walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, and through it, the ring arced through the air in a clean parabola. Before landing with a quiet splash in the swimming pool, Diego staggered. His already pale face lost the last hint of color. Lips trembling, words tumbling out in panic. Katerina. I was wrong, I swear. I know I was wrong. I didn't know how to cherish you before. I was a fool. I'm changing. I'm chasing you again. But you blocked me. Even now. He couldn't bear to remember that moment yesterday, when he finally mustered up the courage to send a message, and was met with that bright red exclamation mark that shattered his last bit of hope. Katerina. I'm not asking you to forgive me right away, or take me back, but at least, leave me a road. Just one road, so I can make it right. So I can chase you again. Take the first left. A cold, mocking voice cut in. Before I even processed it, I was pulled into a firm, warm embrace. Lazaro held me tightly, his tone dripping with possessive arrogance as he raised a brow at Diego. Need a tour of the crematorium? I'll even collect your ashes for you. After Diego's little performance, Lazaro and I couldn't exactly stay any longer. We didn't want to ruin the party, so we politely said our goodbyes and left early. Not heading home? I asked, watching Lazaro glance down at the GPS. Nope, I'm in a good mood tonight. Taking you to the beach. We'll watch the sunrise. I actually believed that romantic lie. I mean, technically, yes, we watched the sunrise, but he never mentioned what would happen before the sunrise. In the car, in that feverish, chaotic moment, Lazaro reached up and lifted my hand, and something cold slipped onto my ring finger. My mind cleared for one brief second, before melting away again as he interlaced our fingers, pulling me under all over again. The call from Dominic came just as the sky began to lighten. I was curled against Lazaro's chest, completely spent, my voice still thick with sleep as I answered. What is it, Dom? But it wasn't Dominic on the other end. It was another mutual friend. Katerina, you should come see Diego. He jumped into the pool trying to fish out the ring you threw. Spent hours in there. It's winter. How long do you think a person can last in freezing water? He passed out as soon as he got out. He's at the hospital, running a crazy fever. I mean, you two did grow up together. Just come see him. Yeah. I pressed my lips together, then said calmly, is he conscious? If he is, hand him the phone. There was silence for over 10 seconds. Then came Diego's voice, weak, hoarse, and choked with tears. Katerina. I found the ring. I found it. Can you, Diego? I cut him off gently. You're really pulling out all the tricks these days. Huh? Stop doing all these useless things. You're ruining my sunrise date with Lazaro. The line went completely silent. I froze too, because just then, I glanced down and caught sight of the diamond ring glittering on my ring finger. Bathed in the golden light of the newly risen sun, Lazaro wrapped his arm around my waist, pulling me even closer into his chest. With his other hand, he brushed his fingers across the ring, voice low and magnetic. You wear my ring. That means the rest of your life is officially mine. If you dare run, I smirked, raising a brow. I know, you'll scatter my ashes.